It is episode 147 of Left Side Heavy, the podcast presented by Blue Wire. It's your boy, Jevin LaFave. We got co-host Hayden Barton as well, and we are joined by two recurring guests of Left Side Heavy, Brett Roselle, Scotty Ani. How's it going, boys? Thanks for coming back to the show.
Doing well. How are you doing, man?
Good, man. Obviously, we've had the day together with the midterm today.
Yeah.
Didn't go so well for me, but it went decent for you guys. But thanks for coming back on the show, boys.
Oh, always a pleasure.
Yeah, glad to be back.
This has been a show in the works for a few weeks now. Super Bowl preview. Super Bowl coming up in just a few days. We've got some hockey headlines to get to as well. But Brett, you just got over a bug at home.
Yeah.
How's the family doing after that tough couple weeks there?
Good, man. Yeah, getting back to normal. Getting ready for the Super Bowl. Hockey's flowing. I'm starting my baseball research for my draft. So yeah, sports are always humming.
There's no off season.
No,
Off seasons are gone.
I'm still doing my draft prep for the 2023 football draft. I can't wait. I'm one of those suckers that's like, it's Super Bowl week and I'm like already salivating about the draft. So
Yeah.
I love the Super Bowl, but bring on the draft. Let's see where these rookies end up.
Yeah, you're a sucker because you're a Saints fan. Of course. Like
Two of them.
Yeah, actually, now that I'm looking at this, how weird is it? Two Pats fans, two Saints fans in the same room
Ugh.
recording a podcast.
Who would have thought?
Who would have thought?
Both with the middest teams this year.
The joint practices.
Imagine.
two of the most dominant teams over the last 20 years have fans. Like
Yeah.
Wild.
Yeah, shocker.
Crazy. Scott, have you been? How's life outside of school?
Yeah, we're good,
Yeah.
Same old. Sad about football ending and my hockey team being terrible and the Raptors suck and baseball hasn't started. So
Bo Bichette just got out of arbitration though.
he
That's a big
signed
headline.
a 3-year.
Yeah.
I don't know the terms, but yeah. I'm ready for baseball. I might get into F1 too. It's coming up. I've got buddies who really like it. I don't think I will, but they keep being like 20 more days till the first race.
I
So
know. I've entertained the thought too, but
I think I'll just actually watch spring training baseball instead.
Yeah. Can't wait for baseball.
There's so many thoughts like outside of like sports where it's like, yo, you should like watch this series. I'm like, it's on my watch list, man. But it's been on my
Yeah.
watch list for like 2 years now.
Yeah.
Like I just haven't got
The Jays are bringing their park dimensions in. Like,
Yeah, I
it's
saw
just
that.
like there's excitement. I can't wait.
They're gonna hit a ton of dingers.
getting
I'm worried
going.
about the pitching though.
Yeah, it's gonna be volatile.
It's gonna be
But
a
I can't
hitter's
wait.
park.
so many bombs being hit. It's gonna be good. But no, this is a big week. This is obviously gonna be coming up being uploaded Wednesday night as opposed to Wednesday morning, so it's coming to you guys late. But let's jump into it because we got a big episode. But we're gonna cover some NHL notes first. We're fresh off the All-Star break. The first slate was just the other night, and former Canuck. There's a bunch of speculation. Hayden, don't breathe into the mic so much. I know you can't hear it, but you're breathing heavy.
Am I?
into the- yeah.
My bad.
It's all good.
Saw the mask would mask it there.
Yeah, I think it's inflating the noise. Actually, it's like dispersing it. It's like, well, I'm cutting that out. I'm not. I don't want to edit. No, but Bo Horvat, he got traded to the Islanders. Me and Hayden talked about it immensely on last show. And there was a lot of speculation on what the Islanders' game plan was. Were they going to play the next month and maybe try and flip him at the deadline to see how it would go? Lou Lamoriello came out and said that it was too much term and too much money, which is ironic because he's the one who gave him the contract and gave Kovalchuk one that was for like 18 years or something like that. So it's ironic for him to say that it's too much money and too much term. But he signs for 8 years, $8.5 million. He ended up scoring his first goal the other night. So what are you guys' thoughts on the term and the price for Horvat in the midst of a career year?
Well,
Brett, Scotty, I'll go to you for
okay.
that.
Like he's not wrong. It is too much term and too much money, and every deal, in that realm it always is. But you sign him because someone else is going to pay it, and you're not going to have that game-changing player. Like the way I see those contracts, you win a cup one time, paid off itself. It's the same thing with
100%.
all the bad ones the Sharks signed, and they came damn close a couple times. So you'll take 4 miserable years or 2 miserable years, even to go on multiple runs. Are the Islanders going to do that? Probably not. But they're in a state where they're not really bottoming out and they're not really a top team. I as a fan, I'd enjoy going for it rather than getting 10 pick, 11 pick, 8 pick.
No,
9
you got to
pick.
commit
Like,
one way.
Yeah, they definitely committed to trying to hit this window that doesn't, like, from the outside doesn't seem widely open, but internally they seem to think that it is, and they're going after it. So I respect that. If I was a fan of the Islanders, I would certainly respect that. I mean, they're an old team and they're going in heavy on someone who's having a career year. So they're taking the calculated risk that a lot of teams are, that he's not going to regress, like a Nazem Kadri, for example, who I think has been like a good example of that. Someone who had a great season, Flames signed him for big money, and he's regressed back to like his career norms. So if Bo regresses back to what he's done up to this point, up to this season, then it's probably not going to be fantastic for the Islanders. But if this is the new Bo, then it's a good deal.
Yeah, especially because like I have a few Islanders like followers and people I've connected with through Instagram and everything like that, and they've said they're like, we don't have a first round. We haven't had a first round pick the past like 3 years, and we're probably not going to have any for the next couple years. We may as well just like commit to just going all in, and they still have like just under $12 million in cap space, so they should just like try and commit to trying to go on a run. They have one of the oldest teams in the league based on average, so it's like you don't have the prospect pool to rebuild quite yet, and you may as well just go all in and try and go all the way.
Yeah, I mean, that's what Lou's doing.
Yeah.
I mean, for better or for worse. I mean,
Yeah.
we'll see. I mean, they really do lack the scoring punch to keep up with some of the top fledged teams in the NHL. I mean, Bo Horvat's going to help, but this team needs more scoring than this
They're not
to
gonna
be a cup contender. So we'll see. I mean, they're really gambling, and we'll see what they do up to the deadline. They might not be done, but I don't know. If you're an Islander fan, you just love that this team is thinking that they can compete, because that's all that I really care about.
Yeah. No,
as a Saints
100%.
fan.
Hey, what do you think about the extension?
I know we talked about it when it happened, and it was like the first kind of thought was, did the Canucks not offer that or anywhere around that? Because 8.5 I thought was pretty cheap for what he was maybe asking. So that was my big concern. It was like, oh, maybe we actually could have done like 3 or 4 years, 8.5, or have him take a hometown discount at 8. And if the number was below that, then that's just sad. And it just shows that he didn't want to be here, even though he talks about like wanting to be there. So until any information, or if that ever comes out, we'll probably never know.
Yeah.
So,
I don't know if it was true or not, but I think I heard a rumor that it was like 7 by 7.5 was the last offer the Canucks gave him. So he kind of took the extra mil, an extra year. And I think he was honestly just had enough of Vancouver. I think he's media trained enough to give the media and the Canucks fan base what they want of, I thought I would be a Canuck for life. But I just don't think the ownership and management made the moves that he was wanting to like go on a run. And like Canucks never built that cup contender that he wanted to be a part of. Not saying that the Islanders are that, but I think they're in a better position to do that than Vancouver is now. And for the 8 years he's going to be there. So I figured that like I'm going to go back on the East Coast, be close to New York, be in a better win now situation, and I'm going to be making more money for an extra year. I may as well stay put where I am. That's kind of what I'm thinking.
It's certainly not the first or last example of a player in a hot Canadian market electing to go to a quieter market when they sign their big deal. I mean, Johnny Gaudreau just did it. Matthew Tkachuk just did it. This is not uncommon. Like, he's probably relishing the ability to go somewhere where it's not quite as red hot.
Yeah.
I think he's happy to be there too. He's never looked happier than when he scored that goal, but I don't think he wanted out of Vancouver at all. I really don't. He was a great leader here. He liked being here. They didn't pay him. They signed someone else.
They kind of forced
and
his
he's got a young family. They sent him somewhere. He said, hey, I don't want this to happen again. I want to raise my kids. So he signs 8 years right away with a team that valued him.
Yeah.
They offer him that money. And it's not just $1 million and you're taking the 8 years. It's an extra million, extra $1.5 million every single year.
Yeah.
That's over $10 million right there.
Yeah.
Mhm.
So I don't think he wanted out at all. Like, if they would have gave him that contract, even after signing JT, I think he signs it 100%. He didn't trade himself.
Yep.
He never said it. And I know you're saying he's media trained in that, but I just think he's a genuine guy.
Yeah,
And-
that's fair.
But I think in 6 months, he's going to be like, hey, I'm kind of glad I'm here now, you know?
I don't disagree with that. I think if the offers were on the table, like I think he was committed to this. The team that drafted him, there's meat on that bone. But with everything that happened, is kind of like, I related the example I think of is Jordan Eberle, who it was a different example because Eberle was struggling at the end of his time with Edmonton. And the Islanders pounced on him, and he actually slowly resurrected his career, and it started in Long Island. This is the second time they've kind of like swooped in and grabbed someone from a like hot Canadian market, and we'll see what happens. But like they've done this before.
Yeah. I'm just thinking because Horvat, he got drafted in 2013, made the playoffs in 2015, went through a rough patch, right? Got to the bubble with high hopes, like at least just like revving off of a high, and then shit went downhill again. And he's probably like, I don't want to like get my hopes up and then go through this again. Like he said, he's like, I don't want to go through like another rebuild or dumb retool that they're talking about. So like his heart and his mind were probably in two different spots. His heart was with Vancouver, but he's probably like, I don't want to go through this again as much as I love this place. Right? So he's, like you said, Scott, like he's probably in the summer, he's going to be like, I think he just wants to play playoff hockey. And I think the Islanders are closer to playing that more consistently than Vancouver is if New York makes the right moves.
At least in the short term. Yeah.
And like you said, it's an extra 10 schmilly, and playing in New York, being in the Manhattan area and being like just over a stone's throw away from his family in Toronto or Ontario, that is, wherever he's based out of, then I think that helps a lot with just like his proximity to the people close to him.
Mm-hmm.
For sure.
So
definitely a lot easier geographically.
No, 100%. And so yeah, congrats to Bo. He does look really happy there. He got that standing ovation Horvat chant from New York fans, which was huge for him.
Mm-hmm.
Canucks never really like had that. We don't have that really fan base here. We're kind of like hypocrites when it comes to that. I'll be honest, like Canucks fans are pretty dog shit, but like we never really gave him that. Like we loved him, but we never expressed it in that standing ovation type. And
It was that like unconditional love that wasn't always
Yeah.
like shown.
Yeah.
And
Yeah. He's
and,
probably
like-
someone who really appreciates something like that too.
Yeah, and like new energy, new team. He's probably having a great time right now, and I wish him the best of luck. Like I'm
Yeah.
still a Bo Horvat guy, and I'm kind of adapted to being a new Islanders guy now because I still love Horvat. I wish we signed him over Miller, but
yeah.
in hindsight, it was probably best to move on from both with the status of, or the state where the Canucks are right now. It's probably best to move on from both and get assets and rebuild, but we live in the future. Moving on, we're staying with signings. Dylan Cousins signed 7 years, $7.1 million. The NHL in general has kind of gone the direction of betting on your young guys early. New York did it. Minnesota did it. Buffalo's done it now. Scott, I'll start with you. What are your thoughts on the Cousins 7x7-1?
It's just what you said. They're betting on the young guys early. He's had a great year. He's not like a cup winning 2C yet. Certainly looks like he's gonna be. It's the same thing they did with Thompson, and I don't think he's gonna explode like Thompson. Nobody thought Thompson was gonna explode like Thompson, but I think he will be a solid top of the lineup center. And I said this on this podcast at the start of the year to you two, that they're gonna be the best team in the league soon.
Yeah.
And they're gonna be. And they might not make the playoffs this year. They probably won't. If that Devin Levi's legit, like Rasmus Dahlin's going to be the best defenseman in the league or second best to Makar in the next couple of years. Like they're just stacked. They have so many guys that aren't doing anything yet, like Peterka and a bunch of young guys, Jack Quinn. Like the team's absolutely loaded. They're going to be so good. And yeah, it's just going to take a couple of years.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think it's like it's almost a little rich for my blood on paper right now, even though I love Cousins because I've followed him for a while. I actually have him on my keeper league team. Dauber prospects had always had him ranked really high, and I like the player a lot. And like they're just hoping that he blossoms into what that contract will be. For right now, his point total doesn't like really reflect 7-1 to me, but it certainly could with time. And like this is a trend with all sports. I mean, like the Braves are doing it in this is a new theory, and it's not just the NHL pouncing on these young guys, getting them locked up, and just hoping they outperform their current contract.
No, 100%. Because like even like Ottawa did it with Josh Norris, Stutzel as well. Because with the cap going up, these contracts are going to be bargains in the next couple years, right? And
Hopefully.
Jack Hughes, they bet on him like decently early. Like he had like a decent year. They signed him to what, like just over 8 million maybe, and now he's on pace for like over 100 points this year. He has like 70, and like after the All-Star break, he just scored his 17th goal in 15 games. Like the kid's a rock star, and they have him for 8 million for the next 7 years. Like he's already worth more than that right now, right? So I think that's the new wave of betting on them early, and I think that's bringing it back to the Canucks. They made that mistake of like waiting until the contracts were up, and it's coming bite them in the ass. But what are your thoughts on the NHL betting on the young stars early?
It's key to success. Seeing it now more than ever in the last handful of years, right? And certain teams are still kind of behind of finishing out a contract, then doing it, rather than restructuring or just totally making a new contract for the player. And it's funny because the entry level contracts are they're actually, I think they're a really good idea, because you sign them for cheap, they play for good, you see if they have anything, boom, pounce on them right early then and there. And it's not like a wait for 3 to 4 years and then make an extension at your third year. You can do it anytime.
Yeah.
It's pretty sick, yeah.
Yeah, it's like not like NFL players who have like a high ego from college and they're holding out before they even play a game in the NFL. Like Quinton Williams did that or something like that. Like when he got drafted, it's like, dude, you haven't played a snap and you're holding out your rookie contract. Like that shouldn't even happen. They should just have like set contracts. And yeah, $900K isn't a lot, but you're probably going to be making that right out of your entry level contract if you play good enough. Kind of like what these guys are doing. So I like the move. It makes sense. It's a high risk, but potential high reward. Pedersen and Hughes have been assigned A's and are a part of the rotation. 4 A's now. They're probably not going to sign a captain until next season. Do you guys have a judgment on who's going to be the next captain of Vancouver?
It's going to be Pedersen. Like, it just is.
Yeah.
He's, next to Bo, he's the best leader on the team, and he's starting to do it even more with his play. He's not just putting up points. He's hitting guys. He's defending this year. Like, I mean, Quinn Hughes is great, but I don't know if he just has that presence even in his game. Quite as Pedersen's a quiet guy. They're both quiet guys. You don't need to be loud to be a captain, but I think Pedersen plays louder, and I think he's the face of the franchise now.
Yeah.
It's the right move.
No, I agree.
They've been grooming him for that. And even I think if anything, Hughes's comments, regarding the injury, who knows how the franchise internally viewed that, whether that was like a boon to his stock as a captain, or maybe that was like, yeah, we're going with Pedersen, because those kind of comments are, volatile.
You kind of make those comments when you have to see.
Totally. So it was kind of like, I thought about that. Yeah, to me, it's Pedersen because that plays into it a little bit.
Yeah, because like alluding to Scott there, you don't have to be vocal to be a captain. Like McDavid isn't vocal, but you see in his plays, like he is the energy source for that team. Like he gets everyone going. He facilitates. Pedersen, I'm starting to see him in Selke votes this year on some people's ballots throughout Twitter and everything like that. And I don't know how valid those people are, but they have a check mark beside their name. And like, one of my predictions from when he got drafted or after the first couple of years was that he was going to be a Selke nominee or win a Selke in his career, because I've seen the defensive efforts from him, and I think that screams captain from like what he's done over the past year and a half, especially. Are you kind of on the same boat, or do you kind of, because there's been some people saying that the next captain of the Canucks isn't on the team right now?
See, like that one is kind of a hard stretch for me, because how are you going to bring someone in and preach almost integrity and then give a captain to someone who just comes in? Maybe if it was someone who was on the team or previously, like, I don't know, but how are you going to do that? I think it has to be Pedersen or Hughes. I can see it going either way. I think both are good, but I definitely would give the nod to PD because, as Scott alluded to, it's just see it more in his play.
And I think they might do like the Brady Kachuk style of extension captain right away, because it's like it was one incentive of Brady staying in Ottawa. It was like, hey, well, because like Thomas Chabot was like, I was pretty disappointed I didn't get it kind of thing. But it's like we need to keep Brady somehow. Maybe the captain was the
Carefully
leverage.
dangled carrot.
Yeah. So if Pettersson is like questionable about the future, but he will be captain of the team, maybe that swings him to signing on to 6 to 8 years. Who knows? But I think he's going to be the next captain, hopefully. Maybe they throw a curveball, keep Myers, and make him captain. Oh, you wanted him out? No.
No, instead of a curveball, it's a splitter. They keep Demko and make Demko new captain.
Oh, second goalie captain. Crazy. Yeah, I didn't know about Jack Hughes tearing it up as of late. Buffalo's just, they've won 9 of their last 11. They were on 8 of the last 10 before the All-Star break. Do you think this team's for real? The Devils, do you think once they hit playoffs, like they are capable of going on a run, or do you think they're more of a one and done type of squad?
Yeah, I don't think they're there yet. They got a lot of talent, but I'm not confident in their goaltending. They don't really have a ton of guys who have legitimate playoff experience, and the East is just loaded. Like they're not beating Boston, they're not beating Carolina. You know, they might win a round, but that's it. Like they're gonna play the Rangers right now.
Not an easy matchup.
No, I think I like the Rangers more on paper. They have more experience. Like that'll be an awesome series too. Like, you know, that Northeastern right there, New York type battle. But yeah, they're not beating the top teams. I don't think so.
Yeah, I mean, like we all know the brand of hockey changes significantly come playoff time. I think I related to the Kraken too in the West, where it's like I really am curious to see how these teams look when it gets to like grind it out in the corners, 7 games. I don't know if the Devils are actually suited for that like brand of playoff hockey, but we'll see. Maybe it's like a Cinderella run. But typically the formula is get in there, you know, get some reps under your belt in the playoffs, and then come back next year, retool and get after it. I mean, like we've seen that time and time again, but you never know. It's just I haven't seen quite enough of that, even though they can score.
Yeah,
I agree. I think they're too young.
No, 100%, because I think they're ahead of their timeline right now, because I don't think they were expecting to be this level. So I don't think they do much at the deadline. I think they just kind of see where they're at in terms of playoffs. If they lose, I think making playoffs is a successful season, and then they adapt in the off season to see what more they can do, see where they're at, maybe make the changes they need to become a more playoff team, and then they'll maybe have their rookies come in like Luke Hughes, Simon Nemec, if they're not moved for more solidified assets. But
I think it's just like the ultimate litmus test is you get to the playoffs and then the brand of hockey gets really heavy and physical. And then you kind of know, what do we actually need to like make that push? Like we've gotten to this first phase, but you have to get there and see where you're at. So you never know, but I'm not betting on the Devils to go all the way, but we'll see.
They're a fun team to watch. Like I think Jack Hughes, I think he's going to be a Hart candidate this year, and I think he is.
He is, and there's plenty of guys, but there's not candidates. It's just McDavid.
Yeah,
exactly. There's several guys like you could talk like Carlson and Robertson. Years. Like these guys in some years would win it, and it should be unanimous. McDavid, no matter
just like
what anyone else does at this point.
Yeah,
like
it's like, I've never seen anything like it. Actually,
he's having a Hart level season, but he's in no way a Hart candidate.
It's like watching a horse race, not realizing that the first place horse is like done 2 laps already, and it's like, wow, like
it's almost a waste of a year to have this good, like to be good this season, because McDavid. It's funny going into the All-Star break, NHL made a graphic of team leaders by points, like which player has the most points on each team. It was like 60, 58, 47. 65, 90. And it was like, okay. And second place is Draisaitl with like 72. Like he has like a 20-point lead on second. It's like, okay. Draisaitl bet him. Like he's like, you have to score 60 this year. McDavid's like, okay. Now he's at like 45 or something. It's like, what's going on here, man? Like Matthews scores 60 once. Everyone says Matthews over McDavid, and McDavid's like, all right, bet I need to score 60 in order to claim first. I'll
Yeah.
just do that next year.
Yeah.
It's insane what he's doing. The All-Star weekend was this past weekend. It was kind of like usual. It was pretty cringe, and they were trying too hard. There wasn't any motivation from the players or in the competition. Patterson took home hard shot. Did you guys catch any of the festivities over the All-Star weekend?
I had it on at times. Yep. Yeah, I did. I tried to pay attention. I honestly, I take it for what it is. There were elements I liked. I liked the dunk tank competition. I honestly thought that was kind of fun. I kind of enjoyed that, but I'm a sucker for some of that stuff. Like, I'm not like a huge critic. I'm not going to get on Twitter and like bash it. Like, they're doing their best unless they make some really fundamental like changes to the format. Like, it is what it is.
Yeah. No, that's right. That Happy Gilmore part though with Pasternak was one of
That's
the worst.
bad.
Was one of the worst things I've ever seen in my life.
I didn't see it.
It
Oh,
was
no,
good.
you don't want to see it.
That's bad.
I didn't watch much of it, but I kind of agree with you. I watched it, like a little bit of it was on the background, but like it's a bunch of 20, 30, 40-year-old men complaining about it because it's not as good as when we were 10 years old. It's because you're not 10 years old, man.
Mhm.
It's for
Mhm.
kids to enjoy seeing these guys interact and do dumb shit. Like,
Mhm. See them in like shorts and a t-shirt. Like, it humanizes the athletes. Like, I get where they're coming from. The NHL needs to get better at this. So like, I'm kind of all for it, but there needs to be a better balance of like, okay, it's fun for the new demographic that you're trying to grab, but like for the people who have been here consuming your product forever, like what's in it for those like hardcore fans? Like, even if they don't attend the like cheesiness, where's the balance so that this is like you can play to both sides, right? It's hard to achieve. I don't have the answer, but as like someone who loves the sport, it's an optional viewing event right now,
Mhm.
for sure.
It's just funny seeing Nick Suzuki win free Chipotle for a year, and
Yeah.
there's no Chipotle in Montreal or Quebec.
Goes down like on a 7-game road trip. It's
Yeah.
like, hey guys, where the fuck is the Chipotle?
I gotta use this voucher.
One thing I did like about the All-Star break and like the best part I think was seeing Sergei Ovechkin.
Yeah.
That was cute. Like
Yeah.
but then I also saw someone like a past goalie or something blow up on the fact that he's Russian and like they're
Oh, Dominic
celebrating.
Hasek.
Yeah, and it's like wasn't the kid born in Florida or something? Like
Yeah.
he's an American
Oh.
citizen.
Like,
You know?
making it political.
Oh, I know, and it's just like why are you gonna try and do this over something that should be
It's just like a
celebrated.
hockey moment.
That
Yeah.
that thought never
Yeah.
crossed my mind. I'm
It's
like,
just
it's
a hockey moment.
Ovechkin and Crosby going on a breakaway with Ovechkin's son.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Take it for
that's-
that.
That's
Don't
so
make it-
awesome.
he's
Yeah.
been doing that the whole time, though, Hasek.
He has been.
He wasn't going to he was trying to not let the Russians go to the games over there, the preseason, and the Sharks played the Nashville in Prague,
Mhm.
and he tried to say like they're banning Russian players, and then David Quinn, Sharks coach, came out and said, well, we're not going if our Russians can't go.
Yeah.
You know,
I
and
remember
like,
that.
who are you going to blame? Like, these kids are, or these guys are 25-year-olds, have nothing to do with politics.
Yeah,
Just
I'm
trying
sure
to
none
have
of
a
them even really
professional career.
care. A lot
Right.
of them focus more on their
Because
actual
they don't
profession.
come out and denounce the government. Like, I hate talking about this shit, but it's
Uh.
like, what do you expect them to do, man? Like,
Yeah.
honestly.
And
It's
people
not
are-
their
people
job,
are coming to
like-
sports to get away from that stuff.
If you're
Yeah.
gonna use your platform as an athlete to like make a change in the world and do things like that, that's great, good for you. But it is not your fucking job at all, and you shouldn't be required to do that,
Mhm.
right? Like,
No, I agree.
Bill Burr he was on like Conan O'Brien or something like that. And say what you want about Bill Burr. He's one of those comedians where he's stuck in the past and maybe rides any line that like some people who easily get offended ride. And he was talking about how politics and sports is kind of crossed over. And he was like pissed about it. He's like, I've watched sports to try and get away from this stuff. And it's just continuously getting in the way of it. And like he went on a complete rant. But no, I agree. I don't think Hasek had any business of bringing that up for a segment that was supposed to be
Yeah.
lighthearted. Two of the best to ever do it, Ovechkin and Crosby, who are on the back nine of their career. His son is going to go on a breakaway with them, and you're bringing it into politics. Yeah, it's kind of ridiculous. But the first slate of games brought us some excitement. with the Rangers and Flames. That was one of the games of the year, in my opinion. There's a total of 62 penalty minutes given out. Jacob Trouba was a wrecking ball that evening. He put Kadri into next week.
Yeah, Kadri did blow up this year. He got blown up.
Yeah. His Bucky got blown up.
Oh my
Holy
gosh, it was
fuck.
sent to next Saturday. And Kadri came out and said it was a perfectly clean hit, and he just got up, dusted it off. Brett, me and you had this conversation about responding to clean hits, but I don't know if you got Scott. Like, I don't know if you tuned into any of the game or.
Okay, so the clean hit thing, the Dubé one, when you lit up Dubé on the blue line, okay, that's stupid. He has to fight for that one. Your player gets hit, like Kadri gets hit, you fight that guy. I don't care if it's a clean hit. My guy just got absolutely killed. That's different than just your average nice hit. That's the biggest hit in the NHL in the past, 6 years. Like, especially with the way the tensions were in that game.
Mm-hmm.
And Dubé had already been laid out by Trouba himself, and so was probably already pissed at the guy.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I don't want one of my star players getting hit like that and nobody responding to it. I do hate, having to fight for any clean hit out there. That hit wasn't just any clean hit. That was one of the biggest hits in modern day hockey history. It might be the biggest one we see for 5 years.
Yeah, that's fair.
I'm not letting my $8-9 million forward get hit like that. I don't care.
The coach wouldn't allow it.
Yeah.
Like the culture. I certainly would hope that and we had this conversation where it's like a transfer of energy in hockey, right? Where Trouba's going out there and he's making that hit knowing I'm doing this to spark the boys. Let's go. And it forces the other team's hands. So
and it screwed them too. They got an instigator penalty. The Rangers scored.
Yeah.
And the Rangers won the game by 1 goal.
Totally.
It did screw them. But
at the end of the day, it's that's what Trouba's doing for his squad. And if the Flames, if someone doesn't respond there, the Rangers were guilty of that. We talked about it last pod I was on with you boys, where they didn't respond appropriately when they were getting pushed around. Bad look, right? So I think it's yeah, but Trouba has to know if he's throwing a big bomb like that. You can't just do it and expect to just walk to this penalty box.
Especially with Trouba's reputation.
Yeah.
He's had some questionable hits in the past. I can't point him out exactly, but everyone knows his intention is to lay the big body.
And the reality is he got Dubé. He looked great in that whole exchange. Trouba's win, that was a big win in my book. To me, is he ended up fighting Dubé. He's he got a 1.5 feet on the guy.
Yeah,
and beat the shit out of him.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was an honest day. It was an honest day's work with Dubé.
Yeah, that's his contract fulfilled right there.
Yeah, no, but it was an exciting game. Came down to the wire. Lafreniere got a 7th of the season, but no, it was exciting.
Markstrom absolutely demolished his stick on the post.
I think he got a misconduct or he got. That was one of the 10 minutes is for doing that at the end of the game.
He made some great saves down the stretch of the Rangers. That
initial save in overtime he made off.
Yeah, that kick.
That slid to the right and the shot was going to the left.
Yeah,
he made a great save and then his defense sold on him, crashed into each other, and
like clown car.
I'm pissed if I'm Markstrom too. It's boys, I'm fucking doing all I can.
Standing on my head, and the only way to score is for you to take me out.
Yeah, you guys are running into each other, and I'm left here on my own.
I always love when two teams that don't play each other all that often get together and just it's boom, fireworks. I always love
almost
that.
Seemed like a rivalry game that game.
Yeah,
if that's a Rangers Islanders game, it's a 3-1 boring Rangers win or something like that. But this one was
and coming out of the All-Star break is every excuse in the world to be flat, and everyone came out just we're gonna bang tonight.
Yeah.
What I was saying about the Rangers Devils series, and I thought this after I saw that, I'm Trouba's gonna lay someone out like that in that Devils series, and it's gonna be insane.
Yeah, if he gets Jack Hughes with his head down.
Oh
God. He might get suspended.
Lindy Ruff will be out there.
Yeah, Lindy Ruff will be toe-to-toe with him. 100%. Vitek Vanacek is going to drop the nets with him. Skate up to the red line. Oh, God. Trouba in the playoffs. If he gets a hold of any young buck on the Devils, that'll be crazy. Jamie Benn plays his 1,000th NHL game. Teammates honored him by taping his stick the same way. Goofy tape job like Jamie Benn always has. He famously won the Art Ross with 87 points 7 years ago or something like that. Thoughts on Jamie Benn as a player? Brett, I'll go to you.
I've always been kind of a Ben fan. I've always I remember starting fantasy hockey, and he was just like a big name. Also, my wife grew up in Victoria, and she would see him at the bars all the time.
Just wheeling, dealing,
Just
honeys.
wheeling out there,
Yeah.
just greasing
Yeah.
out there. So yeah, well, I was kind of dig Ben, and like when he and Sagan were like dominating, they were fun. Like I have no qualms with Ben and his style of play, Canadian guy.
Yeah. Scott, do you have any opinion
Yeah, I
on
love
Jamie
him.
Benn?
I love him too. He's slowed down, but like there's a time 5-6 years ago where he was one of 2 or 3 guys in the league that, you know, can do everything, can hit, can fight, can lead a team,
Oh,
can
yeah,
score
he's-
goals, can
Win
be
a
a
game on his
playmaker.
own, yeah.
There's very few players that can do that, and nobody really does it like him now. But the guys you're looking at are guys like, you know, like Timo Meyer, who's a power forward who hits and has physicality and scores goals.
Brady Tkachuk.
Yeah, Brady Tkachuk. There's not that many of them anymore, and they don't. Brady is a little more similar to Ben, but now it's kind of transitioned into these, you know, speed power forwards.
Yeah.
Because you got to be quick, but you know, that old school Jerome McGinley type player.
Mhm.
Yeah.
And it's just,
Mhm.
yeah, he's awesome. And I am really happy that team's doing good this year. I love their vets. Young guys are sick. I think like they remind me of the Philadelphia Eagles right now.
Mm.
Like just kind of this, you know, this new young star taking over this team that you didn't expect. You knew he was good, and you know, and Jason Robertson could be like the Jalen Hurts.
Mhm.
You know, this young player that kind of came out of nowhere to be way better than he thought he was going to be. And they still got just solid pieces all over the roster.
Yeah.
Like
Big
I could see
Ottinger
them,
guy.
and remember that series against Calgary last year, how good they played, and like Calgary
Ottinger
was
was
so
so
good.
good.
Yeah.
Like that, I could see that team coming out of the West because nobody in the West is really that good right now,
Yeah.
right? The 4
Especially
best
with-
teams might be in the East.
Yeah. Especially
So-
with like
Yeah.
the West hasn't been healthy at all this year. Like Colorado's battled like
Mhm.
their stars have been out for like weeks at a time. Like McKinnon, he was out for almost like a month. Same with McCarr, he was out for a while too. Renton's the only one who's been able to maintain his health throughout the year,
Yeah.
right? St. Louis has been down. Vegas is battling injuries with Mark Stone now and
Yeah.
Jack Eichel. Like
Should be
Ed-
noted that like McDavid and Draisaitl healthy the whole
Yeah.
time. Right? We're not talking about the Oilers as any kind of lock
No,
or
Yeah.
anything.
yeah.
yeah,
That's
like
concerning.
they're battling for Bedard without those two guys right now.
Oh,
Right?
man.
Like there's no lock in the West right now. And
No.
so I totally agree with you. And like you say Jamie Benn slowed down, but I think him playing with Robertson this year is like almost gave him a resurgence because he's been playing unbelievable this year.
Yeah.
And he's like up nearly a point per game. Like he's been doing really good. And seeing him hit 1,000 games is huge for the Dallas momentum as a whole. And to have each level of their team having a star like Robertson, Heiskanen, Ottinger, that's a healthy thing to build around. And you got
Mhm.
Rupe Hintz as well.
Oh, Rupe.
It's like,
Joe Pavelski.
yeah,
Yeah.
Yeah.
that guy has
Yeah.
been aging like fine wine, just tipping in
Yeah.
pucks in front of the net. It's crazy. But yeah, no, Dallas is looking really good
Yeah.
this year.
But yeah, Ben, I mean, he's Victoria. I think he's Victoria
Yeah,
born.
Victoria boy, yeah.
So, hell yeah. Like anytime Canadian born, West Coast, great career.
Yeah.
Awesome.
Gold medalist as well
Yep.
in 2014. So, yeah, no, shout out to Jamie Benn. Panthers trounced the Lightning 7-1. Kachuk and Verhaeghe combined for 9 points. Trade's looking nice for Florida, hey?
Yeah, Kachuk is a
Yeah, it is
dog.
kind of. I mean, it's hard to say because the team kind of stinks. But Kachuk has as many points as Huberdeau and Kadri combined right now.
That's crazy.
Yeah.
So,
That's
but
crazy.
yeah, I mean, you're happy to have Matty Kachuk there, and hopefully they can get some going. But they got almost nothing in the pipeline other than Lundell, who's already in the NHL, and they're screwed with their goalie contracts for a few years. Like,
Mm-hmm.
there is a honest thought that team might not contend for Kachuk's entire contract. Like, that's
Yeah.
possible.
Yeah.
Because they gave all their picks last year when they tried to go on a run.
Yeah, they've done it for a couple of years now. They did it for Giroux and they did it for Sherratt.
Yeah.
Like,
Smaller market team, like
Whoops.
really doing
Yeah.
their. You got to give him credit for really giving it an honest shot.
Yeah.
For a smaller market.
and they broke up the whole gang though, and like
Yeah, so quick.
Huberdeau Barkov was one of the
Yeah.
best pairings in the NHL for several years.
Totally.
And,
they
like-
broke it all apart. The coaching. Yeah.
Uyghur and Ekblad too. Ekblad's not even close to the same player without Uyghur next to him.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
it's just funny that
And Uyghur
Calgary
hasn't
kinda
been great as a
stinks, too.
Flame.
No,
Yeah,
he has
I
not.
know. It's like
They fed
somehow
off each other.
that was such a lose-lose trade.
So yeah,
Like, both teams are worse, and Matty Tkachuk's having the best season ever, and both teams are worse.
so
Like-
strange.
Yeah, it is really weird how that trade worked out.
It's the two
Not looking at
ex-Flames
it.
down there, Bennett and Kachuk, having great years. Thank God I have them both on my fantasy team. Because when those two hit on a night, whew,
Yeah.
How are ya?
yeah.
Yeah,
I've always
no.
been a big Bennett guy too. But it's just, yeah, I don't know. Hopefully the Panthers can hit this little mini window they've committed to, because I've always kind of had a low key, I like the Panthers. I'd love to see them win. Ever since they made that magical run, I was just a kid growing up, and they were playing the Avalanche in the Cup final, and they had the old logo.
The 3D Panther.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I've always kind of dug the Panthers.
Yeah.
I want to see them.
When they're good, their stadium goes from 33% fill to 56% fill. They can just never fill up a stadium.
Yeah.
There's been
Yeah.
rumors of them going to Quebec City, Houston, Kansas City, maybe, if they ever were to move. But yeah, they're not moving that team out of Florida. Jacob Magna traded to the Kraken for a 4th-round pick. What are your thoughts on that, Scotty? We kind of talked about it a bit, but quickly cover it.
Yeah, okay. Well, of course, I watch a lot of Sharks games, and that's one of the few trades Mike Greer's made that was really solid. Jacob Magna spent 9 years in the AHL. He's recently became an NHL player. He's 30 years old, and they turned him into a 4th-round pick. Like, that guy he didn't make 30 rosters for 9 years. He had like less than 50 games played or something before this year in the NHL. And a 4th-round pick is what it is. We're probably not going to get anything good for it, but that's just good asset management. And he's a big body who's a reliable guy that you just know what you're going to get from him every day. Right? He's 6'6". He's been playing next to Karlsson all year, doing literally nothing but just making an okay breakout pass, like
Off the glass and out.
not even. You put it on Karlsson's stick. You can't be off the glass in and out when you got Karlsson next year. We got to get some offense going.
Respect.
But he's basically done nothing all year. But he was also +6 on a Sharks team that has no plus players. Like, I know plus minus is what it is, but he's playing like 18 minutes a night and never played in the NHL before. He's going to go be a 3rd pairing D-man. So, yeah, I think it's an overpay considering he's never really been an NHLer. But the Sharks did this with Jake Middleton last year, who actually is the exact same thing. Didn't make the NHL till 26, played next to Karlsson. We traded him for friggin' Kaapo Kähkönen at the deadline. Exact same thing.
Yeah.
Karlsson just keeps getting them depth players and picks because you put a guy who won't fuck around. Just don't do anything. Don't screw up.
Yeah, just don't make a
He
mistake.
did the same thing with Mark Mathot in Ottawa, who was better than both of these guys. But
Yeah.
he literally just put a big defender next to him and let him do his thing. And it's getting them picks. Scott Harrington went next to him last game, scored a goal.
Yeah.
He actually went off Gadjevic's like shoulder at the end, like grazed his jersey. But that guy was on a PTO, wasn't even in the NHL for years. And he's playing first pair with Karlsson and gets a point right away. Like,
Yeah.
so he should be a good big body guy. And
Yeah, because the flip side, like the Kraken, it's just like all of a sudden they're in a spot where they're just acquiring depth for their playoff run. Like this is the kind of moves I think the Kraken are going to be making because they love their chemistry, they love their room. So it's like it is probably an overpay, but it's like the Kraken are probably just like, whoa, we're in this position, and all we need are some depth pieces, and we actually feel good entering the playoffs. So, crazy that Seattle's like feeling like that as an organization.
Yeah, these are moves that I think like teams like Boston will be making, because like Boston with what they're going right now, you don't want to add anything too big that's gonna fuck with the chemistry. But like if you add just like these depth pieces, like if Boston made like a trade for Luke Shen or something just to add some depth to the blue line in case someone went down. Luke Shen's a good 5th to 7th defenseman for any contending team.
Lots of teams that
lays
want
the
him.
big body, any 4th line forward or something. I think that's what like contending teams, especially with the tight cap this year before it goes up,
Yeah,
there's going to be making these small depth moves
yeah.
that could benefit rebuilding teams, but could benefit a contending team.
Yeah.
Definitely could.
Kind of like that. Last note here I got. Funny report came out. Mason McTavish texts Bedard after every loss talking about their draft lottery odds. Just as a minor thing. I don't know how to elaborate more on that. I just thought it was funny. Bedard's probably like, I don't know if I want to go to Anaheim, but he probably wants to be a Canuck for some reason. But we'll see. I just thought that was funny.
I've heard rumblings and rumors that like Bettman will just find a way to like
Get him in his ear.
not have the Hawks take Bedard because he just hates
I think he's going to be a Coyote.
the
Bedard.
whole thing.
I think Bedard will be a Coyote. They need to find reason to keep them in Arizona.
Yeah,
So,
if that happens, I think it'll like some alarm bells will go off because he just
They don't need to do anything anymore, though. I get it. Everyone, that's not a hot take by any means, right? Like everyone's thinking that whole,
Everyone's
Bedard to Arizona. We thought it all year, at least before the year, how bad we thought they were going to be. And now, they're hovering around there. They're not as bad as we thought. But they already got the arena deal, don't they? So they're stuck there for at least a while. They don't need them anymore. It's like that's done, is it not?
and like
And
the
Tempe?
I didn't think the final vote has happened. It's projected to go through.
Okay. Well, if it's not done, then I like that idea. Then maybe he will rig it for that to happen. But if that arena deal is done, he's already done his job. The money's already coming in.
Mhm.
But also, I think it's just like the whole being able to fill up a stadium and just the hockey atmosphere down in Arizona. He says they get viewership. I don't know the whole entire like deep dive specs and advanced analytics on viewership out of Arizona. But I think just getting Bedard will bury the conversation of moving them despite the arena deal.
And that's true, but there's also places like San Jose who aren't selling tickets. Columbus is going to be like, you save Arizona. What if you lose? You're going to lose one of those markets with how bad they are. Like the Sharks are getting friggin' 8,000 fans a game when they sold out for a decade plus. Like, why keep them there after 4 more years of this?
Yeah.
Like,
Well, and the reality is
Because they've proven that they can.
if they're good, yeah.
They've proven that they can sell out a barn and be good, and they're just in the midst of a rebuild. Whereas Arizona, even when they were a playoff team, they weren't fucking selling out an arena.
Yeah.
Which is what I'm saying.
The reason I don't buy it is because the NHL's seen like when a market like Chicago is succeeding, it's a huge cash flow into their into their product, like jerseys, like it's an original 6. Like
Yeah.
I just don't buy that as much as I've heard those rumblings. It's just like, actually, if Bedard went to Chicago, that's not a bad thing for the NHL. That's like, think of how many jerseys just alone, right? Like, I think
the whole Patty Kane passing the torch to Bedard.
Yeah, and like I think there's like this two lenses, right? Like one would be like Bettman hates that for some reason because the Hawks are like trying to like skirt this system that Bettman has put in place to like deter this kind of activity, but at the same time, it would be good for their product at the end of the day, I think. So we'll see.
Yeah. Well, I think that about wraps it up with hockey. Hayden, let's talk about some football and let's go on to the main event of the episode, which is the Super Bowl preview.
Woo.
Hey, why don't you kick us off, bud?
Does anyone know the Fox intro off by heart right now?
Oh, I always lose track of them.
All right. So since Fox is obviously gonna be the viewership or the broadcast, I feel like it was only right to just bring up the first big thing, Tom Brady. How left side heavy of it was it, Jeff, for
us to upload an episode
and then big news happens on the Wednesday, of course.
But it was funny because the last time that happened where big news released, it was the last time Brady announced his retirement.
Yeah.
We uploaded an episode and then Brady announced his retirement that same day.
Yeah, because I'm pretty sure we recorded like a Monday or something. Yeah.
Yeah, it was, and then like Brian Flores, that lawsuit came out the same day, so we did an episode of that, and funny enough, a year later, the same fucking thing happens. We upload an episode, Brady announces retirement. He's paying attention to the show. I'm sure of it.
He knows.
He's a listener.
Clearly.
He's a listener.
Yeah.
He knows. He just likes to make sure that we really relish in the fact of his whole career, which we've already done the whole spiel of it.
Even Gronk came out and said that. He's like, Tommy, I'm not giving you another paragraph. But
yeah, literally. But I mean, we haven't heard either of your guys' opinion on Brady. Obviously, someone who's played against Brady, someone who's watched Brady. Scott, how do you feel about Brady officially retiring? Cross my fingers.
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, my thoughts on Brady have just stopped since he left the Patriots. It's sad for the NFL as a whole.
Mm-hmm.
I haven't been rooting for him for the last 3 years, but I also haven't rooted against him. I'm not like that butthurt that I'm going to be like, fuck this guy. I hope he loses.
Yeah.
But at the same time, if he wins a game, it does not make me happy in any way. I'm
That's
a
fair.
Patriots fan, and now that he's retired, I can kind of become a fan of him again.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Right. And kind of think back, because I love the Patriots so much. I don't even give a shit what anyone else is doing in the league.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's sad for the NFL. He was, the most successful player in the history of probably professional sports. Just kind of scared for post-career Brady. We saw his little
mirror pick.
Yeah, his
Yeah,
picture he
Jesus
posted the other day.
yeah.
He's gonna do some weird shit in the next 10, 15 years.
Tom
Like-
Cruise stuff.
Like, I don't know what it's gonna be. He's
How
gonna
much
be in,
work do you think he's gonna get done on the
oh,
face?
it's already so bad, man.
Oh my god.
It's already too much. I had some good jokes about that earlier this season, but I can't think of them right now. But
Scott's gonna just randomly blurt him out as
Yeah.
we're previewing
I
that.
was saying to my buddies in fantasy chat, I'm like, I heard that's why Giselle left him, is because it was like body modification obsession.
Oh.
Nothing to do with ditching her for
back.
20 years to play football.
Well, I think
But,
that's like
geez.
my like closing thoughts on Brady is like incredible career, obviously. Like, honestly, respect the player so much. Like when he was a Patriot, I actually wasn't like I was not a Brady hater. I wasn't on that bandwagon. I was like, this is an incredible like situation in NFL history that we're like viewing right now. This dynasty that was. I really didn't have like I was getting tired of seeing them in the Super Bowl all the time, but I wasn't like hating on Brady. It wasn't until he came into the NFC South that I was kind of like, I saw more colors of him. I was like, oh, I don't love some of the things I'm seeing.
Of course.
But like now that it's just all said and done, and like him coming back this last season to me as like a hardcore Saints fan, like he could be making money in a million different ways, right? Like we all
course.
know it. Like he could be doing a trillion different things, but I do really respect that he did love football enough that he chose to come to football to make his money, even when it didn't make any sense.
No, not
This
at all.
last year, he still like wanted to play football. So like tip of the cap to that kind of like athlete and like competitor.
Yeah.
But at the same time, see you later. Happy that the NFC South is like just like a total tire fire now, and we'll go from here.
Absolutely. Yeah, no, he obviously made the commitment to play to 45, and he did. And obviously a lot of speculation was just like, dude, just fucking retire, man. Like this next year, you're not doing anything. But you never bet against him. But I mean, like, hey, it finally happened. He didn't do anything.
Mhm.
Had his worst season ever in his career. Finished under 500. Thank you, 17th game. And got absolutely mollywopped in the first round of the playoffs by a team he's never lost to.
Yeah.
Like, what? That is not the storybook ending on Tom Brady. Obviously, I think he should have retired after he won the Super Bowl in Tampa.
I don't think he should have come back.
He had
he
this-
should.
he had it.
He had his
Yeah.
moment into the sunset, like Peyton Manning
Yeah,
did.
exactly.
That's why it's so awesome, though. Like what Brett said, he just loves football.
He
Who
lo- yeah.
cares if he won a Super
Like,
Bowl?
to a
He
fault.
wants to
Such
go
a
win
fighter.
another
Like,
one.
to a fault. He
Yeah.
couldn't help but come
Which
back.
is why he's
I
the
just,
best.
Like when he announced his retirement and then came back for a year and then announced it again. Like I don't think he should have come out of retirement after like a month after announcing it. Like I don't think he should have come back. I think he should have just retired and not played this year. But no, I mean, can't fault the guy.
Just
for wanting
crazy
to come
good.
back.
Like best court. Like he's just insane.
That's what
Absolutely.
we all think. Like everyone who watches sports, who covers sports, all thinks this. Oh, he shouldn't have played this year. They went 8-9. They sucked. There's no way he thinks that at
No.
all.
Mhm.
Well, I
He
mean, you
went in
also
there and
see
worked
he
his
had
ass off.
100,000 career passing yards.
Yeah.
Mhm.
100,000.
100,000.
Absolutely
Last time
insane.
I checked, that's a lot.
Yeah.
Mhm.
He has like a whole season of just playoff games.
Yeah. And like the
Fucked.
deep analytics of his season this year, like his arm strength wasn't bad. Like
No.
there were quarterbacks that were throwing a lot worse than him. It's just
He
like
still finished top 5 in
like
passing
the
yards.
everything in Tampa just wasn't working.
No.
The O-line was shit from the get-go.
Yep.
So, and with a 45-year-old who has been known not to be able to move, he's not mobile.
Yeah.
That's a recipe for disaster. And then the receivers were in and out of health, and
Well,
the
even that, like
the defense
no.
wasn't playing the best, and and he just simply didn't play his best year. It was just like there was a lot of
You didn't want to get hit. The ball was coming out
No.
even quicker than it has for someone who was notorious for getting the ball
Yeah.
out fast. It was like really
Like
fast.
he's like, I'm gonna throw it in the stands quick before getting sacked.
Yeah,
Like,
yeah,
that's-
you
no
know,
one's
when you're
open.
45, you don't want to get smoked.
No,
Can't blame him.
Yeah.
no, definitely not. But yeah, it looks like he will be taking on his Fox role in what he said on a podcast in 2024.
yeah, next year.
Yeah, congratulations, Mr. Brady.
10 years, 375 million.
Yeah, just double your whole
Career.
lifetime, career earnings in one contract, basically.
Yeah.
So that's cool.
That's insane. 375 sheets
Yeah,
for a guy who hasn't done it yet.
yeah.
At least
absolutely.
they- at least
But
they
he,
get-
no, to his credit though, he's been doing radio hits on like he did every Monday Night Football. He was doing radio hits for like Westwood One and stuff like.
That's fair.
Mhm.
He has been slowly.
But like,
transitioning.
He's not an idiot. You know, like he's
I'm
been.
excited to see him on TV. And
You know,
commentate.
he has been preparing for this.
but at least they
despite-
gave like Romo a couple years of doing the actual like broadcast and stuff
Totally.
like that, and then they gave him his fat contract.
Yeah,
And now that's
If
a big
there's-
regret.
you got to do some regional casts. You got to do some stuff, and then. But yeah, Brady just red carpet, baby.
This
Yeah.
will be the only thing that could maybe if he went to the Jets, but it's probably the only thing that could maybe make me hate him because I hate Tony Romo so much, and I was indifferent about the guy before, and now I can't stand him. If he like, there's no quicker way to make me hate you than, and I'm so overly critical. I know that job's tough, and these guys work their ass off at it, but I am so overly critical of sports commentators, and I just got no room for it. Like
I like color commentators. I like people who can give insight to the game. Like Greg Olson has become quickly one of my favorite commentators because he doesn't ride anyone's dick.
that's my problem with Romo.
Chris
Fuck.
Collinsworth, Tony Romo, and like
Chris.
anyone on CBS
here's
that
a
is a
guy.
color commentator. How much are you riding like the All Stars quarterback's dick, man? Like,
Dude, that
it's so
Bills
annoying.
Pats game in week 18. Romo, like literally, like first quarter. Here comes the onslaught. Here's the champs coming out.
Yeah,
What champs of what, dude?
Yeah.
the
A
AFC
friggin'
East
division with
champs.
3 fucking rookie quarterbacks in it. Like they haven't won anything. They've been to 1 AFC championship. They never even been to a Super Bowl. Like, and he
Yeah.
starts calling him Mr. January. What the hell has he done in January? Up until this year, he lost every snow game he ever played in.
Yeah,
Played 1 good snow game. Mr.
Yeah.
January, the champs.
the alien.
Drive me nuts, dude. I'm freaking out on my couch there. And then I can't even turn off the fucking sound because I'm so mad that I have to hear what he says next so I can get more mad at him. Like,
Just continue, yeah.
I can sense the passion. It's fantastic.
Oh
Yeah.
no, because that's the exact same way I felt about Troy Aikman and Joe Buck. Like, however many times that they would commentate a Saints game throughout 2018,
Yeah.
drive me fucking insane. Absolutely, just I wanted to murder like my pillow.
I like Joe Buck, but like Troy Aikman is
I like Buck
slowly
too.
slowly like becoming irrelevant. Like he says stuff that's
He
just a waste of
trails
breath.
off.
It's
yeah,
just like
he says
like,
the exact same thing
like-
that Buck says. Yeah,
like, I was listening to I think it was maybe like the Chiefs Bengals game or something like that, and the Bengals were down, and Buck like teed Aikman up like a commentator does about the color commentator to do his job, like go more in depth. He was like, Bengals are down by 10 here. What do they need to do in order to like get back in this game or something? Like, he just teed up. I can't remember exactly. I'm
Yeah.
paraphrasing. And Aikman said, well, they're down by 10 and they need to drive 80 yards. So like getting points here would be big.
really.
Thanks. I didn't know
old
that.
John
I
Madden.
didn't
It's
know
like-
Booger McFarlane was in the booth with you, Buck.
It's like I didn't know I didn't know that, Aikman. Thanks for filling me in on what Joe Buck literally just said. It's like you're supposed to give more insight into what Joe Buck's teeing you up, not just pencil edit what Joe Buck said and then like make it longer. It's
Yeah,
like,
no.
hey, can I get your homework? Yeah, just don't copy it. Just don't copy it. Just like change the words up a bit. And that's what Aikman did. So the same shit, just like change it. Yeah, Aikman's becoming irrelevant, but I still like the way Buck calls a game.
Yeah, no,
But-
Buck is definitely a little bit better, but just Aikman just ruins it for me. But
yeah, I was an idiot. What were we talking about?
yeah, Fox. How did this? Yeah,
Yeah, Tom Brady to Aikman. That's a,
I mean, both quarterbacks. You can make the path. But no, big Sunday plans, guys. I don't know about you, but I have plans of getting absolutely hammered. I want to win money, but I probably won't. How are we feeling about the Super Bowl?
I'm excited. It's a fun matchup. Like, two good teams, and I'm genuinely excited. I'll have some pops for sure. I don't have
Mhm.
anything wild on the books, but some good food, some pops, and I'm a big Mahomes fan in general. He's my dynasty quarterback. I drafted him in the 4th round of my rookie draft.
Jesus Christ.
Let him sit at on the bench for a year, and now I'm just a huge.
He's blossomed.
He's my guy. He'll be my quarterback
Did
forever.
Trubisky go ahead of him in that draft?
And
Yeah.
Watson.
No, but
Yeah.
in
wait, no.
his fantasy
No,
draft.
no, God, no. I don't think so. Actually, I should check the
He went
records on
2,
that.
so he might.
He
like,
might
someone
have.
might have.
Actually, you probably did.
Yeah, exactly.
There must be one Bears fan in
Is
here.
gotta wow. I wonder if he did. But anyway, from a fan perspective, I'm kind of like I'm kind of leaning Chiefs just because of that draw there. But I'm excited for the game.
Yeah.
Yeah, me too. This matchup's getting way too much flack because people hate Philly and people are sick of the Chiefs and everyone's like, oh, I'm not excited for this one. The teams themselves, take away the cities, take away the names. What the guys do on the field, they're
Amazing.
Agreed.
super entertaining teams.
Yeah.
Like it could be one of the best Super Bowls we've ever seen,
Yeah.
which means it's going to be like 12-9.
Yeah.
But-
Another Rams Patriots Super Bowl
Yeah.
incoming.
which I thought was exhilarating. But that's besides the point.
Yes, fair enough.
But yeah, I'm excited to watch it. I'm also a Mahomes lover. Now that the Patriots have been irrelevant for the last few years, I have been drafting him a ton in fantasy, and
Mhm.
I watch him all the time. I think he's the best in the league, and I, picked him for MVP. Picked the Chiefs to win the whole thing from the
Yep.
start.
Yeah.
But I am
Way to
just
just flex in our face.
yeah. I mean, how could you not? That's like the hot. It's like people are going, Bill, all this shit. Like, are you kidding me? Pat, have you watched this guy for the last 4 years? And people are
Yeah.
just jumping on like Herbert and Allen. And it's like, what are you doing? Like,
I know.
Pointing at
yeah,
us
he lost
again.
Tyreek Hill. He's fucking
Say
Patrick
not like those are
Mahomes.
ours.
Like, so, but I will say that last few weeks, 5 or 6 weeks, Philly does look to be the better team. Maybe the competition is different, but so that makes me even more confident in the Chiefs because I'm usually always
Yep.
wrong. And the way I'm looking at it right now, it seems like Philly is the team,
Yeah.
which makes me be like, okay, Chiefs are going to win.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think like my heart kind of leans Mahomes, but I think like the Eagles pass rush is real, and like the Eagles have a very real chance here. Like the defense, I give the edge to the Eagles on the defensive side
I
of
think
football.
Philly's
easily.
better in every
For
way.
sure.
And then Chris Jones and Mahomes are the best 2 players.
Yeah,
And then Philly's
there's-
better in every single
So
way.
I'm just really
Yeah.
curious to see like what the pass rush looks like against I guess they came out today and said, he's close to 100% Mahomes. So
Which is absolutely
we'll
incredible.
see. But like that's the storyline of this game is pass rush and Mahomes. Like, can he get out of that and do what he does best?
I think a big key, and what kind of Jev and I pointed to last week, was can they account for Brandon Graham and Hassan Reddick? If they can account for them, they can have a good game. They won't have a run game, but they'll have a game where it could be like Patrick Mahomes scrambles out, hits Kelsey 7-8 yards. Now it's like 3rd and short, if first down doesn't go well, because that was San Francisco's problem. And I have to believe that Andy Reid will cook something up.
Mm-hmm.
And, Sirianni, like, I'm just going to say, I hate the Eagles. I like, they've hurt me so much in the past. Their fans are cringe. And just, like, I like Hurts. I like Brown. I like the Eagles. And I do think they're the better team. But Mahomes is just different.
Yeah.
Jev, like, Mahomes, man.
Yeah, I mean, there's no point in Mahomes' game where you necessarily have him in a bad position, I think. Until the whistle's blown and he's on the ground, he's never in a bad spot because when he's scrambling, he's dangerous. He's like really dangerous. If he has a clean pocket, he's dangerous. If he's just scrambling, he's like the slowest, fastest person in the fucking league.
Mm-hmm.
It looks like he's barely moving, but he finds a way to scamper for 18 yards untouched.
Yeah.
And I'm like, how does no one
Kelsey looks
get
that
him?
way too.
Yeah, it's
right?
insane. It's
Especially
like
when he's running routes, it's just like he does this jog little out with like no
no
shake
one's
or
covering
nothing,
it.
and it's just like
Yeah.
oh,
like,
that
do you
works.
know who that is?
Like it looks like I can run those routes when obviously I can't. But a lot of that I guess is Andy Reid scheming those plays up too to confuse them and make it easy for him too. But like literally, doesn't it look so simple?
It
Like,
does.
They
half of
make
this
it.
guy
They
shit.
make it
does.
look so.
It was
easy.
like
Yeah.
last year or 2 years ago in that overtime game that between the Bills and the
Last-
Chiefs.
No, 2 years ago, yeah.
When that big play to Kelsey to get him in the field goal range. Kelsey just ran up 10 yards and turned around, and you got the ball, and you ran like 20 more yards.
Yeah,
and I'm like,
Yeah.
did you hear like the mic'd up or whatever?
Kelsey was just doing whatever he wanted.
Well,
That's what I
Mahomes in the fucking huddle was like, yeah, like if it's open, like I'll say do it, and then you hear it, yeah, Kels, do it, and then he does it, and then
it's just like does whatever he wants.
they're on the same brain
on that-
wavelength,
yeah,
and
they're
it's
on that
scary.
connection.
Oh yeah,
That's what I'm thinking. Is like Andy Reid just tells everyone like, hey, this is you run a post, you run an out, run a slant. Kelsey, do whatever the fuck you want. Mahomes will find you.
Yeah.
And it just happens. Because you see Kelsey almost looks like he's improvising as he goes. He's like,
Yeah.
I'll run it out and then run back in. And he gets the ball, scampers for a couple extra
I think
yards.
there is an element of improv in what they do too, right? Where they were set up for success, and then they like he relies on that connection that they have. And,
Yeah.
like, why wouldn't you? But yeah, I mean, at the end of the day, like big games, what typically gets W's, defense and run game. And to me, like both of that leans to Philly. So it's kind of like conventional thinking makes everyone think that the Eagles kind of are in the
Conventional
driver's seat.
thinking is why
right?
sports betting doesn't work. though.
Totally, because it's
Right?
kind of that's what this is in really oversimplified terms, right? Is like what is the recipe for good playoff football versus this like variable that we haven't seen in like a really long time at quarterback.
The Eagles also just seem like one of those Super Bowl losing teams. Like, there's always this team, this out of nowhere team, and so was the last Eagles Super Bowl championship team.
Yeah.
Right. You know, Carson Wentz playing like an MVP quarterback, come out of nowhere. That team goes on a run. Oh, now he's out. They win with Foles, whatever. But those teams, like, they just happen all the time. Like,
Yeah.
a team you don't. It's like that. This team's in the Super Bowl, really?
Yeah.
Like those teams usually lose, even
Yeah.
though you know they are. We're used to them now. At the start of the year, you go Philly, KC. It's like that's a no-brainer. KC wins that.
Mhm.
There's just always that team, and then they disappear for a while. You know, like the Falcons losing to the Patriots, the Panthers losing to the
Panthers,
Broncos. Like
Yep.
all these teams that like that's actually an awesome comparison. Is those Panthers?
Yeah.
Cam Newton comes in, wins MVP. Where Hurts played like an MVP this year too.
Similar style of quarterbacks.
They're the best team in the NFC all year, just destroying. And what was that one? Was that like 56 to friggin' like 14 or something? They
I
dusted
think
them?
that was
Or was
not
that
the
the-
Broncos
that-
Seahawks.
that was Broncos
game.
Broncos
Seahawks.
Seahawks. Yeah, Broncos
They
did
still-
dominate
Yeah,
the Panthers.
not as
though.
bad as that one though.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's just those teams like where they come out of nowhere with no real
Mhm.
experience. They don't win that much.
Mhm.
Like,
Yeah. Yeah, it's just so tricky because like even look at wide receiver room, it's like
Yeah.
huge edge.
Huge
Eagles.
difference. Yeah.
It's like everything on paper makes me think like, boy, I don't know. We'll see.
That's why like I say the Eagles are clearly on paper the better team, but
Yeah.
it's just the Chiefs.
Chiefs,
Like
Mahomes.
no one except Scott saw the Chiefs like being
oh come
in
on,
this
so many
position.
people did. They're the
because
friggin'
it's like,
Chiefs.
but you lose so much. You know, you lose Tyreek Hill. Eric Bieniemy had so many offers, or not so many offers, but so many interviews to go out and leave. There's the integrity just losing everywhere, and it's like we don't give a fuck.
Yeah.
We have Patrick Mahomes.
That's what I thought the entire
Yeah.
time, and I think a lot of people thought that.
And-
It's just not enough. That should have been over 50% of people's picks, and instead it was like 20 probably.
And I'll admit, like I turned a new leaf where it was like I've now put like for my quarterback rankings, it's like Mahomes, Burrow, Allen. Like that's just how it is now because Allen's a little bit more riskier. He does a little bit more dumb shit. He's not as composed as Mahomes and Burrow, and that's why like I still love Josh Allen. Like he's a great quarterback, right?
You know,
But like
third best quarterback in the league is not a bad thing to say.
Yeah.
about
no,
him.
exactly, right? But it's
Yeah.
like Mahomes, he's flicked a switch in my head where it's like I'm never gonna doubt him now. It's
No.
Tom Brady passing the torch.
Yeah. People tried this offseason, especially in the fantasy sphere, right? Like,
Yep.
whoa, it could be Herbert, you know, and it's like, I don't know. Mahomes
Yeah.
is the guy.
Yeah, no, it is.
He's the
He
dog.
is.
He's the dog.
Yeah, I want to ask you guys. So, because Jalen Hurts, I feel like that's a major X factor in this game is how Jalen Hurts will play. Because we all kind of have an expectation of the Mahomes-Kelsey connection and just how Mahomes is going to deal. Philly's defense has come out to play, which could even maybe cause a couple turnovers through Mahomes, just through deception, maybe a strip sack of some sort. Mahomes is usually pretty good with that, but Philly Eagles,
Not
like,
last
they're-
game, that
they're-
freaking sack was
like-
or that fumble was
yeah.
so bad.
yeah, that's a oddity. Like doesn't happen a lot. Like that's just like something weird that happened. But how does Jalen Hurts like catapult this Eagles offense, who's already high scoring? Like we know what he can do with his legs, but like how does he really put together a complete game to put Eagles over the edge?
Well, to me, it's utilizing both of his wide receivers, right? I mean, like he had both wide receivers finish as wide receiver ones in fantasy, pretty much in depending on the format. Not everyone can do that. Like you got two huge weapons, and if he can actually slow the game down enough to actually just acknowledge which of those two dogs is open on any given play, then I love Jalen Hurts, man. Like everyone thought that this guy couldn't throw and that he was just like a fantasy darling, and he's come out this year and like just physically on the field, I want him as my quarterback kind of thing, right? Like how he looks out there. He's hulking. Like I just love like his confidence and persona this year. It's just like there's something about it that has changed for me, and I think he can carry this team if he could use his legs and just slow the game down enough to acknowledge which of those two wide receivers is open. One of them is going to be open, and it's probably Devonta Smith, but
Probably.
one of them is going to be open.
Dallas Goedert too.
Dallas Goedert too.
Goedert,
He just
He's
has to
sleepy.
slow it down enough, and just if he can do that, boy.
Yep.
I think the key is they got to score early. They can't get down a couple scores. You can't have a turnover early. I think that'll be an absolute recipe for disaster for them. Like he's going to get shook early. Last time he was in a big game, he lost his job, Alabama, and Tua comes in, wins that Nat championship. And maybe that's exactly what he needs to be like, hey, I'm not going to blow this one, right?
Yeah, I hadn't thought of that.
But that's also a different league, too.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
I could see it both ways. I can be like, this guy folds under pressure. He fucked up in the national championship game and Tua won it for them. Or it could be like, remember last time? I'm ready for it this time. You know?
I hadn't made that comparison, but yeah, that's true.
We also haven't seen a Jalen Hurts-led Eagles team be down.
Right.
Yeah.
They haven't really fought adversity. Now, granted, their team is just great. They did have one of the like 6 easiest schedules in the NFL this year.
You can only play the people in front of you, though.
Exactly, and that's not a harp on them. That's not a not against them, but we haven't seen them be down. If the Chiefs do get up, I don't know. We haven't seen it. Like we haven't seen them try and like.
That doesn't make them a
fight
bad
adversity.
team, but it makes it hard to say they're a great team.
Yeah,
Exactly.
You know, we don't know yet. That's
Exactly.
it.
Yeah. I don't think even if they win, this Eagles team won't go down as like one of the greatest like NFL teams ever. You know, we see these teams like you alluded
And that'll
to.
kill Philly fans too.
Oh,
They
it
still have
will.
every reason to think that. Too.
Totally. But like Scott encapsulated it. We see these teams come along where it's just like there's something that works. But they won't be regarded as like one of the best teams ever.
No.
They just were the best team this year if they win.
Yeah.
We'll see.
Yeah, they made all the right moves. I think that AJ Brown has been one of the best trades in the past few years.
It's more like what the Titans last GM was smoking.
Oh yeah. Why wouldn't you pay AJ Brown
What
that money?
the hell?
Yeah.
What a great deal for the Eagles.
Yeah, he was like, all right, sure. Our quarterback needs a weapon, and we'll take AJ Brown.
Sure.
Yeah. What's the catch here? Nothing.
Yeah.
First round pick. Okay, sounds good.
Say less.
We all get an asthma attacking AJ Brown in Treylon Burks. Yeah.
Yeah.
No, but yeah, I think AJ Brown, I think he's become like a sneaky. I know it like doesn't really matter because in like the NHL conversation, like no other Hart candidate really matters. It's a waste of a good year because the season McDavid's having. Like I think Mahomes is the MVP, but like AJ Brown for some reason he's just having a sneaky like MVP season this year because of the impact he made on Jalen Hurts and creating deception on the Eagles offense. Like he's taking the attention away from others, making it easier for Jalen Hurts to do his job.
Yeah, and it's the new recipe, right? If you have a true like 1A, 1B like Cincy with Chase and Higgins, it just makes it so challenging. And then if you have a good tight end,
Devontae Parker and Jacoby Myers too. Don't forget about those guys.
Travis or Boyd works that way with them too, just being a good slot
Totally.
instead of the tight end.
Disrespecting our
Yes.
boys.
Which it's
Fucking hell.
not like what's his name.
And Hunter Henry.
Hayden
How can you
Hurst is
forget
bad,
about
but-
him?
Yeah.
totally.
Yeah.
Johnny Smith, man.
Listen, Johnny Smith is a physical freak, and he's an absolute stud. I don't know why it hasn't worked in 2 years, but
No, I
he
know.
is a stud, and he gets way too much hate, and I still love him. I don't care how
it's
much money he
almost
makes.
like Seattle just not utilizing Jimmy Graham. It's like, oh
Yeah.
wow, we got this guy who can box out everyone.
Mhm.
He does
block.
He has like
We
drop
traded for
issues
him.
a bit, but like the way he moves as a type, like I
No,
love
I'm-
Johnny
yeah.
Smith. I
No,
still
he's
love
a
him.
freak athlete.
Pats fans freaking hate him though, and I understand. He makes a ton of money. He's done nothing.
He's also been not put on the field. But
Yeah,
Yeah.
he
Like,
gets
I
put in
love-
like
I love-
blocking
I
sets
love-
all the time.
I love Jonnu Smith as well, and I think he could have flourished in the system.
It's not over yet.
Yeah, it's
We
not.
got the return of the Bill O'Brien. He did Hernandez and Gronk before, so
for
Mhm.
sure.
That's gotta
Yeah.
be awesome.
It's true.
But
Yeah.
anyways, more with the Super Bowl. We're gonna just do quick 20-second script, since scripts are such a big thing right now. So we're just gonna call it the script for the Super Bowl. So I'll go first to let you guys prepare.
Sure.
So how the game starts. Touchback. Chiefs get the ball. They go up 1 score. They get the ball back after a 3 and out. 10-0. Eagles drive down. Devonta Smith scores. And then they go kind of back and forth. Last minute or last second drive. It's Mahomes to get the MVP. He goes down there. Harrison Butker kicks a 20-yard field goal for the win.
Final score.
Final score, 31-30.
Oh wow,
Wow.
what a game!
Yeah.
Calling it. I like high score. I like this high scoring game. I don't know.
I do too, which again is like the conventional thinking thing.
Yeah, which
We're
is why it's
probably
going to be
so wrong.
12-9.
So, I think because I think the past 8 Super Bowls, the team who's won the coin toss has lost.
Yeah, I posted that on my story.
So I think Philly wins the coin toss. They elect to defer, right? They go down 3 and out. I think then Casey gets the ball back, field goal, 3-0, whatever. And then I think it's a 1-score game, a 10-7 game going into the second quarter for the Chiefs. I think they're up 10-7. First touchdown for the Chiefs going to Kelsey. First touchdown for the Eagles is Jalen Hurts. He's going to run it in from the red zone. And then at halftime, I think it's going to be a 21-17 game for the Chiefs. And then I think that's when it's going to get really locked down in the second half. And I think Kelsey's going to get his second touchdown of the game late in the fourth to put him up 31-24 over the Eagles. And Kelsey's going to win MVP.
Ooh, Kelsey. Okay. Well, you're getting close to my score, and I actually thought of this score the other day, and I don't know why I thought of it. It just came to me. But now I'll create a script to make it work with the score I thought of. So, Chiefs got the ball early. Of course, a touchback and a bet touchback too.
Of course, yeah.
I don't know. I think they just absolutely operate that first drive. I think they score. CAH punches it in. He's back. Get the Chiefs fans going. And then we're going to get sack fumble, TD, Chris Jones. Don't know if he returns it. We got defensive TD from the Chiefs or 3 and out first drive, but they're going to get one at some point. I think the Chiefs get up a few scores. Then they start to run the ball. They start to punt a few times. They kick a few field goals. The Eagles start coming back. And then say it's 32-18. About 5 minutes left. They've got 3 touchdowns. Butker, of course, misses an extra point because he does.
Of course, yeah.
And then they kick a few field
As
goals.
is
They get the
tradition.
32 points. Eagles score to make it 32-25 with about 5 minutes left. The Chiefs either kill that clock out or the Eagles get one last chance and don't make it. 32-25 Chiefs.
It's a unique score. Whoever has that on the board is gonna get a lot
Right
of
now
money.
we all got the over that's set at 50 right
You
now.
know, 1 point off. And I was thinking, I literally like yesterday or 2 days ago, I'm driving in my car and I'm like, I was listening to podcasts actually, and they were predicting the score. And I was like, I'm feeling 32-25.
That's like a Schwami score. I don't know. if
What did I say?
you're a part of my
31-24 or 32-24?
30.
You said
31-24.
31-24.
Yeah,
Yeah.
okay, that makes
So we got the same
Yeah.
spread.
31-30, 61.
Yeah. I haven't given this like a ton of thought, but
Same. I just made mine up on the spot.
one thing that I like have thought I think could happen, and so I'll manifest it right now, is I actually think the Chiefs are going to come out and start really slow, and I think Mahomes is going to tweak his ankle at some point in the first half.
Ooh,
And I think it'll be
I
this
like
big
that.
like
What are the odds on that?
What's gonna happen? I think he's gonna be seen limping around at some point, and there's gonna be all this.
Oh, he's gonna throw on the run and
the
be
lines
like,
are gonna
it's
go
hobble up.
wild. I think there's gonna be something like that with
Chad
his
Henne get in?
ankle. Yeah, I don't know. No. I think he's gonna stay in the game and got through it. But I would bet that the Eagles control like possession and game clock for a lot of the first half. I would actually see the Eagles like getting a 10-point lead and like holding that 10-point lead all the way into like the fourth quarter, almost to the point where it's getting to be like a boring spectator spot, and then they start to give Mahomes just a little that extra possession. Somehow he gets that extra possession where everyone knows that's like all you need, like that one turnover differential or something, and then Mahomes like starts cooking and gets down to business. I'm going 28-24. I think that 10-point differential will be there, and then Casey will come through with a late touchdown.
So we all think the Eagles are a better team, but they're gonna lose the Super Bowl. All of us.
I'm just like I'm a big storyline guy, and I think there's too many storylines surrounding KC for them not to win. Like I just think they were first time they've been underdogs, and then they were once underdogs at home for the first time. Then the betting swung them to favorites. Mahomes' ankle, the Kelsey Bowl, the Andy Reid Bowl.
State Farm Spokesman Bowl.
Yeah, like I just think there's too much surrounding KC that like they're gonna lose. Like I just think they're gonna come out on top.
I just see this like situation where it's like kind of like the Saskatchewan Roughriders, where like Eagles fans, you can like sense them being like, we're up 10 with 10 minutes to go, like we're gonna do it, and then it's like the Brady magic starts kicking in, and like those dreams crumble.
Like it's like the snaps of when it was Packers versus Cardinals, and Cardinals went up by 3, or they tied the game or something. They went up by 1 with like 30 seconds left, and Packers fans are like taking Snapchats or something. They're really cheering with 30 seconds on the clock.
Time left.
And Rodgers has the ball, and then Rodgers drives down, gets a field goal, and they win the game. I think your script of like the Chiefs like coming down late and scoring a touchdown, I think like under 5 minutes, down 2 scores, like the Chiefs are down 2 scores, is exactly where you don't want the Chiefs to be. Because the Chiefs is like, oh, we just need a glimmer of light with the game almost over. All right, boys, let's start trying.
If the Eagles start going 3 and out at any point in the fourth quarter,
consecutive 3
things
and
are about to
quick
shift.
3 and outs.
Like they need to keep running the football really well in that fourth quarter.
And don't look to move the sticks on every single play. Like be okay throwing a 3-yard in and maybe trying to get a few yards after the catch. Like don't be afraid of doing that. Don't try and move the sticks every single time, because that's when a 1st and 10 turns into like a 3 and 11, because coverage sacks will start coming into play. Everything like that. Look for the quick throws, maybe some QB drawn up runs kind of thing like that, because Jalen Hurts has the power to maybe get a few yards with designed runs and everything like that. They have to look to get the ball out quick in order to avoid those quick 3 and outs, like you're saying.
For sure.
Well, since that like on the fly thing kind of went so good, I'm gonna do one more thing, and then we'll kind of conclude it. But I want you guys to give me a guaranteed lock of a player prop or like any sort of prop line in this game on the offense and the defense. So I'll go first to set an example. For the offense, give me Kelsey, multi-touchdown scorer, and CJ Gardner-Johnson with a pick.
Ooh.
Yeah.
Okay.
I like
I'm gonna kind of steal Scott's here, because I kind of like his a lot. I'm gonna go Chris Jones, strip fumble. I just think whether it's Jerick McKinnon Miles Sanders, Boston Scott, or Jalen Hurts running, I think Chris Jones is either like strip sack or he's gonna cause a fumble, one of the two. And I like Kelsey anytime touchdown scorer as well, but
He had a multi. Hayden has a multi.
Yeah, I'll go back to the Eagles side. I think Jalen Hurts anytime touchdown is a lock.
Chalk.
Yeah.
Well, last week I didn't bet on it, but I told my buddy to, and he screwed up and put it as first TD score. But I had a feeling Valdez-Scantling was going to score a TD. He did. He rarely scores. And this week, like I've already said twice, I think CH is going to score.
Yep.
And I've been really good at these feelings lately. So I think that's a lock.
Someone
it sounds
bet it.
wild. I think
Bet.
it's I'm betting it. I'm betting the shit out of it. But I think that's a lock. And then I don't know about just like a single player prop, but I like Chris Jones MVP.
Ooh.
Like I said, I got the Chiefs scoring 3 touchdowns, one of them being defensive, and I got 4 field goals going in there.
4 field. Okay, yeah.
That's how we're getting to 32.
Nice.
Right,
Yeah,
with
yeah.
the Butker miss Pat. Chris Jones MVP.
I like it.
Wow. Bold predictions.
Last time someone had a bold prediction like that, it came to fruition on the show with Matt.
Oh yeah,
Eagles by 10 against San Fran.
Wow. Okay, yeah, on the Eagles side, I'll take I'm a huge Devonta Smith guy. I've already stated that. Took him in my dynasty leagues. So I'm going to take him getting over the century mark. I'm going to take him over 120.
Ooh.
I think like this is the game to me where everyone wants to talk about AJ Brown. I actually think Devonta Smith is the best wide receiver in Philadelphia. I know that's like a really like
How do you do in your dynasty league?
I'm doing pretty well, man. I'm
Yeah.
doing pretty well.
They're
Yeah, I'm
big on all these
rebuilding.
guys, but do they
But like
win
I think
anything?
Devonta has the ability. I think this kind of game, someone who can just get open all the time. I think he's going to be open all the time. I alluded to it earlier. If Jalen can just see him, I think he goes off for a bunch of yardage. And to my Saints guy, Chiefs defensive side, throwing back to the Tracy Porter era. I think my boy Trent McDuffie is going to take it for a pick 6.
I was just gonna say you like
To
Smith so much. You
win
don't
it
like
for the Chiefs.
You don't like McDuffie.
I like McDuffie. So yeah, that's my hot take on the Chiefs side. Pick
I like
6
that.
for McDuffie
That was-
Patriots pick right there.
to win it.
Patriots
was-
draft pick they got him with.
That was 13 years ago yesterday.
Crazy.
Man.
Crazy.
Downhill ever since.
Yeah.
Love
Nice. Nice.
All right, let's just go around and quick refresh on score prediction and MVP to finish it off.
All right.
Right.
And maybe give like a reason why you think the MVP pick.
31-30 because Mahomes led a 2-minute drill to win the game.
So Mahomes MVP.
Mahomes MVP,
I-
Chiefs 31-30.
I got 31-24. Kelsey MVP. I think Eagles are going to force a few turnovers on Mahomes, but I think it's going to be one of those Edelman games where Brady doesn't have a great game, but Edelman goes off. I think Kelsey's going to have like over 120 and 2 touchdowns, and it's going to be the game-winning touchdown. So I think Kelsey gets MVP 31-24.
Over under 10.5 catches for him. That's a very high mark.
He got
Under.
14.
Under?
He got 14.
I know. That's why 10.5 seems kind of
Yeah.
reasonable, especially if you're saying he's gonna have one of these.
Yeah,
I think
Yeah.
under, but I think he's going to have one of those weird 40-yard scampers where like he catches it at like the 39 and then runs past like 9 blockers and somehow scores like one of those Kelsey touchdowns. So I think he'll have like a lot, like 8, maybe like 8-yard catches and then like go off of like some like crazy run kind of thing. So I think around like 9 catches.
Okay, I got Chiefs 32-25. Chris Jones MVP because I think the Eagles defense is going to be very good and the Chiefs are going to need a defensive touchdown. I don't know if he gets it, but I think he gets a couple sacks, forces a turnover. I truly think Chris Jones is the second best player in this game.
Mhm.
The best player not named Patrick Mahomes. You could say Travis Kelce, maybe talk about a few Eagles, but I really think he's that good, and they're going to need him to lead as much as Mahomes to win it.
I like
Yeah.
it.
Fair. Yeah, I went 28-24 for the Chiefs. And truthfully, if my hot take with Devonta is him going off, that means Jalen has had a very dominant game. And I would take him as the MVP. If the Eagles are going to win, he has to be MVP. So that'll be my pick.
But you got the Chiefs winning, don't you?
Oh, right.
One of those
One of those
rare,
weird
One of
MVP of the
those
game with
rare
opposite team.
John Sebastian Jaguar moments.
Yeah.
Yeah, Jesus, JSG.
You can keep it that way. I
I'll
like
keep it that way.
Yeah.
Fuck it.
Hot take.
Jaguar, baby.
I love it.
Chad Henney's probably going to have to come in for that.
Yeah, I'll own that blunder, and that's my pick.
All right. I love it. It's going to
Love
make
it.
the graphic that much better. All right. What time do we got? What time?
It's like 5:15.
5:15,
I probably have another
right up
5:10
there.
tops.
Yeah, we'll wrap it up here. Boys, thanks for coming on. This is a very fun episode.
Yeah,
of
this
Super
was
Bowl
fun.
preview, some NHL talk. It was really good. Needed to be done. Scott, where can the people find you?
at at Scottani or _Scottani on Twitter. And then, yeah, Leafs Nation's blogs. Hopefully coming up soon, some Blue Jays Nation blogs. I haven't been writing since last season for them, but I expect to get back into the mix there. So, yeah.
Fucking right, it's Brett.
Sweet. Yeah, you can find me on Instagram at Brett Roselle Music. I am a music creator as well. You can find me on Twitter, Brett Roselle, my website. Search my name, Google my name. You can find me on most platforms.
Fucking right, Aid.
On Instagram and Twitter at Hayden_Barton and TikTok at HBart13.
You can follow me on Instagram at Jevin.Lefave, on Twitter at JevinLefave. Find everything for the show on Instagram, Twitter, and TikTok at LeftsideHeavy_. And YouTube, Left Side Heavy. Subscribe and rate and review the show anywhere you get your podcast. Thanks for listening, and we will see you guys next time. Peace.